Before we jump into the episode today, I want to share something with you from my heart. First of all, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I really can't tell you how much your support means to me. We've been doing the podcast now for almost 4 years. I can't even believe it. And I'm so grateful for each and every single one of you that listens, shares an episode with your friends, sends me a DM or a text message letting me know how an episode resonated with you or any aha moments. Seriously, I couldn't be more grateful to be able to create this podcast. It has been such a blessing in my life, and I love hearing the ways it's been able to provide value in yours as well. One thing you might not know is how much work it takes to be consistent with a podcast. In fact, did you know that the majority of podcasts don't make it past episode number 10? And we are well beyond that. And it's just a lot thinking of the episodes, recording them, editing them, managing the guests, making sure that everything runs smoothly and gets uploaded consistently and regularly. And so that's why I have created an amazing opportunity for you to support the podcast monetarily. And in exchange for that, you will get exclusive premium subscriber content. So for as little as $3 a month, you can become a premium subscriber of the podcast. And every month I will upload new voice-guided workouts and breathwork meditation audio for you. So that way you can work out with me, coaching you in your ears. You can also take a moment to reduce your stress and relax and come down and ground down with one of my breathwork audios. So if that is on your heart to support the podcast for as little as $3 a month to become a premium podcast subscriber, I can't tell you how much that means to me and the growth of this podcast. I appreciate you. If you're interested, click the link in the description, become a premium podcast subscriber, new content every month, and while supplies last, I'll send you an exclusive podcast coffee mug so you can have your self-love and sweat coffee every morning. I appreciate you. Now let's get into the show. Welcome to Self-Love and Sweat, the podcast, the place where you'll get inspired to live your life unapologetically, embrace your perfect imperfections, break down barriers, and do what sets your soul on fire. I'm your host, Lunden Souza. Hey friend, it's me, Lunden Souza, online lifestyle transformation coach. I help people all over the world just like you who know they are meant for more, get their mind right and their body tight, and go from crazy busy to crazy happy. And hey, if it's our first time meeting, welcome. So happy to have you. And if you've been with us for a while, it's so great that you're here too. I'm really excited to share this episode of the Self-Love and Sweat podcast with you. Hey, I want to tell you quickly about 2 ways that you can get connected beyond the podcast to up-level your health, your life, your fitness, reach your goals, but also support the podcast as well. So the first option is our Self-Love and Sweat monthly members-only meetup. We meet up on the last Saturday of the month on Zoom for 90 minutes to cover some important topics, to answer your questions, and then to also do a workout together. It's a great way to have that support, have that accountability, get supercharged, and get reminded that there are other people all over the world on this journey of self-love and sweat, and you don't have to do it alone. You can join your first month for only $1 using code SELFLOVE1 at checkout, and then it's $27 a month after that. So you go to lifelikeLondon.com/monthly, use the code SELFLOVE1 at checkout to try us out, test it out for only $1 for your first month, and then you can be on board to listen to the podcast, join up on the meetups, and just really feel like you're connected and thriving on this journey to reach your goals. The second option is our Strong at Home for Women 8-week dumbbell-only workout plan. We have women all over the world getting stronger from the inside out right at home, right? So we're ready to take action to get stronger despite the circumstances of the world. And we know that we're not about to do that alone. So embark on this 8-week journey with us. You can go to lifelikeLondon.com/strong at home. You can pick up your 8-week plan. And the exciting thing is that every 8 weeks, we open it up, myself and my co-coach, for VIP all access coaching with us. So not only do you get the plan, but you get Zoom fireside chats with us. You get an exclusive way to chat with us anytime so you can ask your questions, share your progress. And we're always continuing to stay connected and motivate and inspire each other on our journey to get stronger, no matter what that means for us. So if you know that you're meant for more, you're ready to get stronger from the inside out, and you're just like, yes, I need a plan and some structure, something to tell me what to do. I know I'm ready, but I need that coaching. I can't do it alone. We are here for you. You can go to lifelikeLondon.com/strong at home, pick up the plan, figure out when our next VIP all access registration is opening so you can get that support and guidance. And the third thing, I said there was two, but the third thing is you can do both. You can join us for those monthly meetups. You can be there for the 8-week program. You know, this coaching and this support is here for you. We want to get you real results that last so you never have to start over again. And so you guys are awesome. Enjoy this episode. Get connected. Self-love and sweat, friends. Welcome back to Self-Love and Sweat, the podcast. I'm super excited to have you back here today. I think that today's topic is something that we've all gone through time and time again. And if you haven't, you're not human. And if you have before, you probably will again. And that is just rough days, right? Rough, kind of sluggish, lost your mojo a little bit days, right? So I'm not talking about, full weeks and months after being in a lull. I'm talking about when you feel like you're in flow, you feel good, you've been taking care of yourself, you've been serving, but then life happens and things happen like they always do. And you just feel like you have a little rough patch, a meh day, I like to call them sometimes. And so you're not alone when it comes to those days, whether it's because, you have a lot going on, maybe a few rough nights of sleep. So you're like actually tired. And sometimes like even the case for me, it's like your brain is just playing tricks on you. Like you just kind of have those moments and those days where like the self-doubt creeps in and there's just a lot going on your to-do list. And yeah, it's just kind of a lot. And I don't know if those of you listening resonate with this, but it's just like sometimes you're just like exhausted and having meh days because your mind has just been playing tricks on you and you've been like, shooting all over the place. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I love how Tony Robbins says that when you're just shooting all over the place, right? And sometimes we just get caught up in like what's going on in our own head, and that can be really exhausting. Like, are you with me? So I have 4 hacks, 4 like must-dos or like key things to implement when it comes to those types of days. And I really go through this checklist. And as I was making notes for this podcast, these are points that I always go back to, but kind of like the stories and the moments surrounding them. And let's say even the ways I've implemented them have changed a little bit too, especially when it comes to the first one. I had kind of a moment where I jot something down on a piece of paper the other day, and it's totally become part of this first point that I want to go over with you guys today. So yeah, if you are here, that means you've had a rough day, you've had a tired day, you've had a meh day, you've had a sluggish day, you've had a lot going on sometimes. Brain is playing tricks on you, a few bad nights sleeps, and you're just feeling, tired, but you're just like, oh, I want to serve. I want to continue to go towards my goals, but I am human and I want to be realistic. And so these are some really key fallback points there. Like even even fallback, like jump off points, like really key points that you can come back to on those days. And so For me personally, I'm just getting back from hosting a week-long retreat, a content retreat where I invite health and wellness and fitness coaches from all over to come together to create content, to make videos, podcasts, reels, photos, collaborate, brainstorm, get work done, blog, kind of do all of those things. And so for me, the last week was really on. And so when I came back home, it was like there was still work that needed to get done, and like admin things and computer stuff. And so as I was pivoting into kind of that high energy, a lot of people, a lot going on type of vibe, and then pivoting into a different type of work, a different type of things that I needed to get done, I just noticed that, I was having a few days where, I was just a little bit more tired. I felt like I was a little bit allergy, or like kind of got a little bit run down while we were there in the desert. It was really hot. And so when I was coming back, it was like, okay, there is a lot to get done still. I do have a lot on my to-do list left over that I do need to get done this week, despite having a really long, productive, but intense week there. But like, I can't deliver and execute like at a top level on a 10 out of 10 when it comes to like energy and output, because I got to take care of myself. So I'm, of course, that's a 10 out of 10 in my book too when it comes to self-care. But it was really like, okay, after I kind of went into that pivot and went into that change of working style for myself, I noticed like, oh, I'm feeling like a little sluggish and tired. There was a lot going on there. Now my brain's a little bit, in that arena in creation mode. And now I got to switch it over to start thinking about implementation and making sure that like all checks and, everything's are checked off in terms of what we have and what we're delivering and what I got done and just kind of all the things. So in switching kind of that brain or that mindset there, I noticed there was like a little bit of like lull and fog and like meh. And I was kind of beating myself up over it. I was thinking about a lot of the things I needed to get done. Like I said, our brain can play tricks on us. So I was kind of like, I need to be, get this kind of thing done. I have this deadline. I need to, all this kind of thing. And instead of just giving myself some time to land and relax, which I eventually did, I just really felt like, that pivot there in terms of, we wear a lot of hats. And I know there's a lot of, of you, whether it's like, entrepreneurial hats or just like, mom, wife, parent, job, just kind of doing all the things. And when we switch a lot of those hats, sometimes it could feel like boom, 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 line it up, knock it down. I go from one end to the other and I got this. And then other times it can really feel like, oh, I'm taking off that hat. I'm switching roles here. And it's just a little bit more challenging. And so I felt that. And so that's something that I'm going to be really mindful of moving forward is like when I'm transitioning from one working style to then another, or just kind of like one energy level to another, is to be mindful about that for myself. And so that's something that I really learned. And so whether it's because you have a lot going on or you were in vacation mode and now it's like work mode or vice versa. And it's just like whenever there's change or just kind of, things like that happening in our lives, I can find that when I'm figuring out kind of what that next best move is, I can feel a little bit of that like brain fog and that brain chatter. And sometimes that wants to slow me down. And so these 4 hacks, 4 tips I want to give you today are just ways to like check yourself, 4 check-ins on those days when you're feeling meh and sluggish. And just one of them days. What was that song from? I think it was Monica. I love that song. I know it's about like a woman's, just having one of her days, but sometimes men and everybody can have them too. And so when it's one of those days, here's what I come back to. Here's what I fall back on. The first one, go back to the basics and foundations. Go back to your basics and foundations. And for me, that's really like my morning routine. And that's getting back to making sure I'm getting good quality sleep and enough sleep. And like my environment is cool. Like literally when I sleep, like there's fresh air. I've used my essential oils. I'm not on technology before I go to bed. Everything's on airplane mode, checking back there. Nutrition, hydration, making sure I'm eating enough, making sure I'm getting enough nutrients, making sure I'm staying on top of my supplementation just to make sure that I have the energy and fuel that I need. And so really coming back to those basics there. And a lot of you maybe have heard me talk about this before, and I've done a podcast episode on it before, but it's the 3M morning routine, my 3M morning routine, which is mindset, me time, and movement. And I always go back to those 3Ms. But when I came back from the desert this past week, I came back on Monday. So at the time of recording this podcast, it's like 6 days ago. So when I came back, I was kind of laying in bed, just kind of like to-dos, dancing around, trying to relax, not really feeling like I could relax or shut off. And I wrote down on a piece of paper, which is what I usually do when I get up and I feel like I just need to get something off my chest, or just write it down, whether I wake up or I'm just thinking about something. But I wrote down 5-10-5. 5/10/5. And I wrote down 5 minutes of prayer, 10 minutes of meditation, 5 minutes of journaling. And then right under it, I wrote get moving. And for me, that was like, okay, that's my morning routine. That's what I know makes me feel good. But I'll just be honest. Normally I have a lot more me time, like a lot more time for myself for that morning routine in the morning. But I just felt, because like there was so much going on and a lot of to-dos dancing in my head, that I was like, okay, I'm just going to do the bare minimum amount of time, the key ingredients, prayer, meditation, and journaling that I know are going to bring me back to center. And that's going to be a part of what I do tomorrow morning. And I did that. And that just felt so good. It felt so good knowing like, okay, not only do I have my 3Ms, my mindset, my me time, and my movement, but I can set like some timers surrounding that. Because like, to be honest, I really felt like when I was laying down in bed that day, maybe you can relate. Like I felt like I was like a horse inside of the arena, like ready to get going for that race, where it was just like, okay, ready, set, go, and I wanted to like jump out of I wanted the gate to open and I wanted to go after it too soon. And I just knew that that was like a healthy gate and boundary to put in front of me. Like, okay, Lunden, I know you want to go after that, but like your body's telling you, with the way that you've been feeling a little low, like all those different types of things, your body is telling you to kind of build that, that barrier there with your 5-10-5. Like, do these things first. I know you want to crush it. I know you want to serve. I know you want to deliver, but go through this first. And so I was just, I wrote that down, and that really was calming for me. It was like, okay, no matter what's going to happen tomorrow, we're going to get through that 5-10-5, and that's going to feel good, and that's going to be something that kind of opens the gates for you, so that you're not like, a horse, ready to go, ready to race. The gate opens and you're not properly fueled and ready to go. You're not well equipped. And even though sometimes we feel like we want to go after it, we want to do the thing, we want to, just get it done, setting the foundation and getting really clear in our mindset. And for me, the prayer and the meditation and journaling just really does it for me. And so that was something that, like, even when I was laying there, I knew, like, okay, even though you feel this way now, all the things dancing in your head, you're super set up for success tomorrow. And it's only going to take 20 minutes, right? 5 minutes plus 10 minutes plus 5 minutes is 20 minutes, right? So in my head, I'm like, okay, it's just going to take 20 minutes, and then I can go after all the things I want to get done and the ways I want to serve and deliver there. So the first hack is like coming back to basics and foundations, your morning routine, your sleep, your hydration, quality nutrition. Even on those, tough days, it's like, it's easy to go through the drive-through or grab, comfort foods or whatever, but it's like, grab that water, fill it up with some, lemon juice and sometimes I'll get a clementine and squeeze it in there. Like, stay super duper hydrated, make sure that the foods that you're eating, you're looking at them, they're nutrient dense, just kind of doing the things, make sure that you get good quality sleep. And even if that means, putting your phone outside of the room or getting into bed and staying awake a little bit, just because, things are dancing around in your mind before you kind of cool down, instead of, being on the computer and being on your phone and looking at the TV and all the other things to numb out, right? So back to basics for me is really checking in with those key areas. My morning routines, my nutrition, my sleep, and that 5-10-5 really spoke to me too. So even in that day, in that moment, it's like, okay, back to basics. Sometimes it's even just like water. Steps. Okay. What are the basics I'm coming back to today? So then we don't get caught up in, am I making progress today compared to, my last workout or this or whatever? Back to basics for me is a really, like, I say that to myself, and it's a powerful trigger. The second hack is, once you've come back to your basics and your foundations, is like, take a moment to remember a moment of your resilience. Like, take a moment to remember a moment you've had a tough time and you bounce back. I'm sure there are plenty. I know that you have them.
and take the time to think about them. It's like, there's nothing that you're going through now that you can't get through. You've been well equipped in the past with things, hard times, tough workouts, hardships, challenges, roadblocks. Like, you've done it before in the past. You can do it again. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. So don't forget that. And take a moment on those days, despite the craziness, despite the chaos, despite how much tired, whatever, like, take a moment and just think about, like, a moment I'm super proud of myself. A moment I showed up like a boss was, a moment I was super resilient and bounced back despite adversity was, and think about that. And really think about that and remember that, because we're capable of amazing things, and it's hard to see on the outside when we're so tunnel visioned, focusing on this needs to get done, or, oh my gosh, this day is crappy and I feel like this. So this means that, all this is going to, all the ways that we can kind of dance around in our head. Come back to remembering a moment of resilience in your life and where you've really showed up during a tough time and how you're just like blown away by yourself. Like, I want you to get blown away by yourself in this moment. When you think about that, like, whoa, dude, you crushed it then. Lunden, you showed up like the queen boss that you love to show up as. And wow, that was such a great moment where you crushed it. Like, think about that for yourself. Get hyped up on yourself. Okay, that's the second hack. First one, come back to basis. Second one, remember moments of resilience. Remember moments of resilience. Number 3, the third hack, is ask yourself, like, what's the next best one action or the next best couple of actions just to keep progress moving forward in this day? And I wrote here on my notes, ask yourself the next best action. And I put in parentheses, water. Because I was downstairs before recording this podcast, before coming up here to like get set up and do all of this. And I was just kind of getting things together. And there was a moment where I just felt like I was kind of like not really like focused. I was just kind of like, thinking about what I'm going to do, just kind of staring off into space a little bit. And I just said to myself, water. And I grabbed my water and I filled it up and I put a couple drops of lemon essential oil in it. And it was just like, for me in that moment, that was my next best action. And the last few days, like I said, this week has been kind of a week of navigating through this pivot and going through some rough, sluggish kind of days. And over the last couple of days, I've been really intentional with saying like, okay, what's that next best thing? And it was water. Sometimes the next best thing probably after this is going to be a walk. I really want to go outside and generate some more energy, get some fresh air, get my body moving, get out in the elements a little bit. And that's going to be the next best action. Earlier today, the next best action was getting out a series of 9 emails I wanted to send to 9 very important people that I wanted some of their time and input on and feedback. And that was the next best action, So it's not always the case of like, okay, line it up, knock it down, to-do list, let's do it, asking yourself what that next best action will be for you, for your goals, Maybe you were getting ready to go jump into the car and go get, fast food because it was just easier and it's a crazy day and all the things and whatever. And if you did that, okay, next best action could be something else, right? But maybe you catch yourself in that moment and you're like, okay, no, wait, pause. The next best action is taking the 10 minutes it's going to take for me to like saute some vegetables, get some protein going, side of rice, maybe some corn tortillas with some spicy salsa. That's what I love. And just whip together, something that's going to be, just healthier, more nutrient dense, a lot less preservatives. And plus, what's in it because it's your food, right? The next best action could be like taking a break and taking rest and recovery. For me, sometimes that next best action is inaction. And I see this with a lot of my clients too. It's like, okay, it's not the next thing you can do. It's just like, can you just take a moment to be? And so that might be the next best thing, right? So that's another hack, is just to ask yourself like, okay, remember those, like I said, back to basics, remember the moments of resilience, and then ask yourself, what's that next best action? What's the next best thing I can do? I was like, water, in that moment, I felt like the Tin Man on The Wizard of Oz when he's like, oil, I was just kind of like in a moment, I was just like, I need water. I was a little bit dehydrated. I went pee afterwards. It was a little bit cloudy. I was like, yeah, your body was trying to tell you something, like make more moments of intention, make that next best action, today, multiple times a day, today and always, but just in general, I just feel like I need to be a bit more mindful about it. That right now, that's kind of like my next best action. Okay. And that's my third hack for you. And then the fourth one, connect, reach out for support. I posted a Instagram reel that was like things I'm thankful for. And one of them is that I have a lot of people around me in my circle that I trust. Connect with people. Tell them how you're feeling. If you're having a rough day, it's okay. Tell them about it. Tell them what's bothering you. Use as many I statements as you can. Try to take as much, I always say this, try to take as much ownership for the day that you're having and how you can turn it around and what you're excited to happen in that day instead of, what's messed up. But like, we have to go through the feelings. We can't pretend like, it doesn't suck sometimes. Don't linger in the suck. Don't marinate in the suck. Don't stay there too long. But it's like connect with people and let them know how you're feeling and get it off your chest and, feel through that. It's very, very helpful, and we forget that. I think sometimes we forget that. Now, we don't want to be in, heavily reliant on relationships where we're always connecting through like all the horrible shit and talking about it all the time. No, but it's like reaching out to the friends that we have that we can connect with and share what we're going through, the ones that we know will be there to support us, that want to help us get through this and want to help us, navigate through this chapter and get to that next point, who don't want us to linger in this sorrow or pain, but are there for us with that. And I think maybe we can identify different relationships in our lives where maybe it's like, yeah, every time we get together, we're talking about our problems, but we also have those people when we can connect with them and really be open and honest and vulnerable. It's so healing, so helpful, feels so good. I have a friend of mine that I meditate with regularly, not in person, but we do meditation regularly and we journal together. And there's times when I, forget to write in the journal and then I get back on track and we connect and I just remember how good that feels. I was on a phone call with a friend of mine today when, I was grocery shopping and I just was like, I'm going to call her. We'll be on the phone, like, hello, normal, old fashioned days, talking on the phone, not texting, emailing, whatever, like just talking. I just called her and it was awesome. And we were talking about, just different situations going on in our lives. And, I was kind of sharing some stuff with her. That was going on. I'll probably share another episode on it too, but it's just like people sometimes don't always do what they say they're going to do. And whether it's been like people I've worked with or like, I don't know, random people I've kind of dated here and there throughout the last year. I just felt like there was a lot of like annoyance on my side where I was like, how come? Like, I feel like, there's like been these key situations where I felt like a little bit bamboozled or like I was so blindsided or how did I not see that? I was kind of annoyed by myself or just whatever and connecting with her. And she's like, Lunden, like, we all go through this. This happens to all of us. Like next time you'll see the signs faster and just whatever, And so through that connection, it's not necessarily just feel like you're getting out all your problems and like, oh, this sucks and this person sucks and this situation sucks. But it's like connecting and getting that like uplifting feeling from your friends. Like, hey, I've been there too. Like you'll get through that. Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh, that feeling feels horrible. But like, next time you'll know better or next time it won't be that way because you'll have different lenses, and it was just really nice to connect with her because I was feeling, tired and sluggish, like I said this week. And then there was a few things situation wise where I was like with people where I was like, like, am I missing something? Like, is it like, what am I doing out there to bring in these people into my life that I feel like, are not bringing in what I want to. And so being able to connect with a friend over that and just talk it out was just so powerful and so healing and felt so good. And those are my 4 hacks for turning around a rough, tired, sluggish. I said sluggish and meh day, a sleh day. But those are the 4 of them, getting back to basics and foundations and what that means for you. Remembering your moments of resilience and hyping yourself up. Ask yourself what that next best action is, and then connection. Reach out for that support.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Self-Love and Sweat, the podcast. Hey, do me a favor. Wherever you're listening to this podcast, give us a review. This really helps a lot. And share this with a friend. I'm only one person, and with your help, we can really spread the message of self-love and sweat and change more lives all around the world. I'm Lunden Souza, reminding you that you deserve a life full of passion, presence, and purpose, fueled by self-love and sweat. This podcast is a Hit Spot Austria production.